The year is 1942. The air hangs heavy and humid over Guadalcanal. Colonel Koshi Matsumoto, a seasoned veteran of countless battles in China, Malaya and Burma, crouches behind a fallen mahogany tree. Through his binoculars, he watches American Marines cautiously navigating the Lunga River Trail. For months, his men have perfected their deadly ambush tactics, turning jungle paths into killing fields with chilling efficiency. They've decimated Chinese forces with these same strategies, utilizing the jungle's dense foliage as a weapon itself. But today, the meticulously planned choreography of death is about to unravel. He doesn't know it yet, but these Marines carry a weapon dismissed in his intelligence reports as a mere myth, a gangster's fantasy from American crime films, the Thompson submachine gun. Japanese field manuals still depict American infantry as primarily armed with bolt-action Springfield rifles. These rifles, requiring manual cycling after each shot, create predictable pauses that the Japanese have ruthlessly exploited for years. The colonel can't know that this seemingly insignificant detail will shatter the Japanese confidence in their jungle warfare supremacy. This is the story of how the Thompson's distinctive roar, the deep rhythmic drumming of its .45 caliber rounds, would transform Pacific warfare in minutes that felt like an eternity. The year marks the apex of Japanese expansion across the Pacific. From Pearl Harbor to the Philippines, from Singapore to the Solomon Islands, Imperial forces swept across the ocean with breathtaking speed and ferocity. Their success wasn't merely a product of superior numbers or advanced equipment. It was founded on tactical brilliance, honed through years of relentless warfare in China. Japanese commanders mastered the art of the jungle ambush, transforming the dense vegetation into a weapon as deadly as any rifle. Colonel Matsumoto commands the 324th Infantry Regiment, 2nd Battalion, a unit known for its prowess in Malaya and Burma. His men are experts in what military historians would later call spider tactics, small, highly mobile units that strike from multiple directions, disappearing back into the jungle with the swiftness of morning mist. They move with the silent grace of predators, communicating through bird calls that deceive even native guides. Their ambushes transform enemy advances into massacres. The Japanese have meticulously studied their American opponents, intelligence reports painting a picture of Marines primarily armed with the 1903 Springfield rifle, a weapon capable of launching powerful rounds, yet it requires soldiers to manually cycle the bolt between each shot, creating a decisive and deadly vulnerability. This pause, these crucial seconds of reloading, are what Japanese tacticians call the pause of death. The fleeting moments when an American rifleman is defenseless, their weapon temporarily useless. The Japanese ambush doctrine ruthlessly exploits these pauses. A typical attack begins with carefully positioned machine gunners suppressing the enemy. While the Americans struggle to reload their rifles, Japanese infantry emerges from concealed positions, launching coordinated rushes, leveraging the enemy's vulnerability. This tactic has been devastatingly effective against Chinese forces, but intelligence, as the colonel is about to discover, can be devastatingly incomplete. On this steamy August morning, Japanese assumptions are about to clash with the brute force of American industrial innovation. The Thompson submachine gun had a circuitous journey to the Pacific. Designed by General John Thompson during World War I as a trench broom to clear enemy positions, it arrived too late for the European conflict. It found unexpected fame instead in the hands of Prohibition-era gangsters and law enforcement, earning the nickname Tommy Gun from newspaper headlines chronicling Chicago's violent underworld. By 1942, the Thompson had evolved far beyond its gangster origins, becoming a formidable military weapon. The Marines, always quicker to embrace innovative firepower than their army counterparts, had used Thompsons since the late 1920s during interventions in Nicaragua. There, in jungle conditions remarkably similar to the Pacific Islands, they discovered the Thompson's unique advantages in close-quarters combat. The weapon fires the same .45 caliber rounds as the standard military pistol, but at an automatic rate of up to 800 rounds per minute. Unlike rifle bullets that might cleanly pierce a target, the heavy, slower .45 caliber rounds deliver massive stopping power, transferring all their energy into the point of impact. Marines who survived Japanese human wave attacks reported that Thompson rounds stopped charging enemies more effectively than higher velocity rifle fire. The gun's most distinctive feature, however, was its sound, a deep rhythmic drumming unlike anything in the Japanese arsenal. This would prove to be both an advantage and a significant drawback. While the Thompson's roar could break the will of attacking infantry, it also sounded eerily similar to the Japanese Type 92 machine gun, leading to tragic cases of friendly fire. American troops sometimes mistook the Tommy gun's distinctive report for enemy fire. Staff Sergeant Mike Rodriguez carried one of the first Thompsons to reach Guadalcanal. A veteran of pre-war Marine detachments in China, Rodriguez possessed an intimate understanding of jungle warfare, a knowledge far exceeding what classroom training could ever teach. He'd witnessed firsthand the evolution of Japanese tactics during the Second Sino-Japanese War, studying their methods with the keen eye of a professional soldier who knew he would face them again. The Japs were smart, Rodriguez would later recount to military historians. They knew exactly when our boys would be working their rifle bolts, and that's when they'd hit us. But the Tommy gun changed the math. You could keep firing while moving, lay down suppressing fire that didn't stop. It gave us something we'd never had before, continuous firepower at the squad level. Rodriguez's Thompson sported a 50-round drum magazine, a feature later simplified out of the design but crucial in these early Pacific battles. The drum was heavy, prone to rattling that compromised stealth, and expensive to manufacture, yet it provided an overwhelming volume of fire that could turn the tide of a close-quarters engagement in mere seconds. The jungle itself played a significant role in this deadly drama. Guadalcanal's interior was a world of perpetual twilight, where towering trees formed an impenetrable canopy, making noon feel like dusk. Visibility rarely exceeded 30 yards. The air hung thick with humidity, turning uniforms into sodden rags and making each breath feel like drinking warm water. Insects swarmed in maddening clouds, and tropical diseases lurked in every stagnant pool and muddy footprint. This environment favoured the defender, and the Japanese forces had expertly turned these environmental advantages into military doctrine. They built camouflage positions that were practically invisible until you stumbled upon them. They manipulated the jungle's acoustic properties to create deceptive impressions of their numbers and locations. Most importantly, they understood that in such close quarters, the first few seconds of contact would decide the fate of any engagement. American Marines, despite rigorous training, struggled to adapt to the unique challenges of jungle warfare. Their standard small unit tactics, developed for more open terrain, required complete overhauling. Soldiers trained to advance in extended formations found themselves bunched together on narrow trails. Standard communication procedures failed when radio signals couldn't penetrate the dense vegetation. Critically, their weapons and tactics were designed for combat ranges that simply didn't exist in the jungle's suffocating embrace. The morning of August 21, 1942, began like any other in the Guadalcanal campaign. Colonel Matsumoto's intelligence suggested that a Marine patrol would traverse the Lunga River Trail sometime before noon. His men had been in position since before dawn, invisible in meticulously prepared firing positions that commanded overlapping fields of fire across the narrow jungle path. The ambush site was chosen with painstaking care. The trail curved slightly, funneling the American patrol into a killing zone from which escape would be nearly impossible. Dense vegetation on either side prevented easy escape, while carefully positioned Japanese machine guns could sweep the entire area with coordinated fire. According to doctrine, the Americans would be caught in the open, forced to seek cover while working their bolt-action rifles, providing perfect opportunities for the Japanese infantry to close in for the final deadly assault. Matsumoto had deployed 43 men in the ambush, including 3 light machine gun teams and 2 grenade discharger squads. His plan was flawless, textbook perfect. Pin the Americans with machine gun fire, force them to the ground, and then overwhelm them with coordinated infantry attacks during those inevitable pauses as they reloaded their single-shot rifles. He had executed similar ambushes countless times against Chinese forces, always with the same result: swift, decisive Japanese victory. But as the American patrol rounded the bend in the trail, Matsumoto noticed something that didn't quite align with his intelligence briefings. Several of the Marines carried weapons he didn't recognize, compact, heavy-looking guns with distinctive circular magazines. His binoculars couldn't provide sufficient detail, but something about the weapons' profiles triggered a nagging sense of unease in his tactical instincts. The American patrol consisted of 12 Marines from the 1st Marine Division's intelligence section, led by Sergeant Rodriguez. Their mission was reconnaissance in force, to probe Japanese positions, gather intelligence on enemy strongholds, and engage targets of opportunity. It was precisely the kind of patrol that Japanese ambush tactics were designed to obliterate. Rodriguez had strategically positioned his Thompson gunners throughout the patrol formation. Unlike standard doctrine, which concentrated automatic weapons for coordinated fire, Rodriguez distributed his Thompsons to create what he termed instant response capability at multiple points along the column. When the ambush was triggered, he wanted to ensure devastating return fire could erupt from several directions simultaneously. The jungle held its breath as the Marines advanced, unaware that dozens of Japanese soldiers watched their every move through carefully concealed firing positions. In those final seconds before violence erupted, two entirely different tactical philosophies were poised to collide in a test that would reverberate across the Pacific theatre for the duration of the war. At precisely 11:37 that morning, Colonel Matsumoto gave the signal initiating his meticulously planned ambush. Japanese machine guns opened fire simultaneously from three positions, their distinctive slow rate of fire earning them the Allied nickname Woodpeckers. The coordinated volley should have pinned the Marines in place, creating the vulnerability that Japanese infantry tactics so effectively exploited. But something went drastically wrong almost immediately. Instead of the anticipated pause as the Americans struggled with their bolt-action rifles, the jungle erupted in a continuous roar of return fire, a sound Matsumoto had never encountered before. The distinctive deep drumming of Thompson submachine guns filled the air, laying down suppressing fire that forced his machine gunners to seek cover just as they should have been pressing their advantage. Rodriguez's distributed Thompson gunners had reacted exactly as trained, but with a level of firepower that Japanese tactics simply hadn't anticipated. While rifle-armed Marines sought cover and attempted to pinpoint enemy positions, the Thompson gunners instantly unleashed devastating automatic fire toward the muzzle flashes of Japanese weapons. The heavy .45 caliber rounds tore through jungle vegetation that would have stopped lighter rifle bullets, forcing Japanese soldiers to abandon positions they had considered impregnable. The psychological impact was immediate and profound. Japanese soldiers accustomed to the rhythmic pauses of bolt-action rifle fire found themselves facing continuous automatic fire from multiple directions. The carefully timed coordination that made their ambush tactics so effective began to unravel as individual soldiers prioritized survival over coordinated assault. But the true shock was yet to come. As Japanese infantry initiated their traditional rushes to exploit what should have been American vulnerability, they ran directly into the Thompson's deadly killing zone. The submachine gun's high rate of fire and heavy bullets proved devastatingly effective against personnel in the open. Where rifle fire might wound or miss a moving target, the Thompson's sheer volume of fire created what Marines called walls of lead, nearly impossible to penetrate. The ambush, which should have lasted minutes and ended in Japanese victory, was over in less than 90 seconds. Of Colonel Matsumoto's 43 carefully positioned soldiers, 17 were killed and 12 wounded. The American patrol suffered only 2 wounded, neither seriously. More significantly for the wider war, the Japanese tactical doctrine that had proven so effective against bolt-action rifles had encountered its definitive counter in American automatic weapons. The aftermath of this engagement would send shockwaves through Japanese command structures across the Pacific. Reports filtered back to Imperial Army headquarters detailing American automatic weapons that fired continuously, unleashing devastating volumes of fire that rendered traditional ambush tactics suicidal. What had worked so effectively in China was failing spectacularly against American industrial firepower. Colonel Matsumoto survived the engagement, but his confidence in Japanese tactical superiority did not. In reports later captured by American intelligence, he described facing devil guns that never stopped firing, and recommended immediate tactical revisions to account for American automatic weapons. His superiors, still firmly believing in the superiority of Japanese fighting spirit and traditional tactics, largely ignored these warnings. This pattern would repeat itself across the Pacific as Japanese forces encountered increasing numbers of Thompson-equipped American units. The submachine gun's impact transcended its technical specifications. It represented a fundamental shift in small unit tactics, moving away from the individual marksmanship that had dominated infantry combat since the invention of rifled barrels to the suppressive firepower that would define modern warfare. The Marines who fought on Guadalcanal understood this transformation instinctively, even if military theorists would take years to fully analyze its implications. Sergeant Rodriguez, whose tactical innovations had helped defeat the Japanese ambush, would later train entire battalions in what became known as Thompson tactics, the aggressive use of automatic weapons to seize and maintain the initiative in close-quarters combat. But the story of the Thompson in the Pacific was only just beginning. From the steamy jungles of Guadalcanal to the coral atolls of the Central Pacific, from the caves of Eniwetok to the final battles on Okinawa, this distinctive American weapon would continue to reshape the nature of infantry combat. Its deep rhythmic roar would become the soundtrack of American victory, and its devastating firepower would force enemies across the Pacific to completely rethink their approach to jungle warfare. The transformation wasn't immediate or universal. Many American units still relied primarily on rifle fire, and the Thompson's weight and ammunition consumption limited its widespread distribution. But for those Marines fortunate enough to carry Tommy guns, the weapon provided a psychological advantage almost as significant as its tactical benefits. In the terrifying chaos of jungle combat, where death could come from any direction without warning, the Thompson's continuous fire offered reassurance that overwhelming firepower was always just a trigger pull away. As word of these engagements spread through Marine units across the Pacific, the demand for Thompson submachine guns skyrocketed. Sergeants who had never seen the weapon began requesting them for their squads. Officers who had initially dismissed the Tommy gun as a gangster's weapon started advocating for increased production and distribution. The gun born in the trenches of World War I, gaining notoriety in the speakeasies of Prohibition, was finally finding its true purpose in the jungles of the Pacific War. The reverberations from that August morning on Guadalcanal spread through the Imperial Japanese Army like cracks in breaking ice. Within weeks, intelligence reports from across the Pacific began painting a disturbing picture for Japanese commanders. Their time-tested ambush tactics, honed through years of successful warfare in China, were failing catastrophically against American forces equipped with automatic weapons. Major General Harukichi Hyakutake, commanding the 17th Army on Guadalcanal, found himself reading field reports that challenged everything he understood about infantry combat. His colonels described American patrols that seemed immune to traditional ambush tactics, laying down continuous, automatic fire that made coordinated Japanese assaults impossible. Most troubling were accounts of American weapons that never stopped firing, creating what one surviving officer called rivers of bullets that no amount of Japanese fighting spirit could overcome. These reports landed on the desk of a military establishment that had built its doctrine around the superiority of Japanese fighting spirit over material advantages. For decades, Imperial Army training had emphasized that proper tactics and warrior dedication could overcome any technological disadvantage. The idea that American industrial production might fundamentally alter the nature of infantry combat was almost unthinkable to commanders who had witnessed Japanese victories from Manchuria to Singapore. But the evidence was becoming impossible to ignore. Across the Pacific, from the jungles of New Guinea to the atolls of the Central Pacific, Japanese forces were encountering increasing numbers of Thompson-equipped American units. Each encounter followed a similar pattern. Traditional ambush tactics would trigger devastating automatic fire that forced Japanese soldiers to abandon carefully prepared positions. The tactical advantages that had made Japanese forces so effective against Chinese and early British opposition were evaporating in the face of American firepower. The transformation wasn't limited to large-scale battles. In countless small unit actions across the Pacific theatre, the Thompson's presence was reshaping the fundamental dynamics of jungle warfare. Japanese patrol leaders accustomed to predictable American responses found themselves facing opponents who could lay down suppressing fire while manoeuvring, maintain continuous pressure during firefights, and respond to ambushes with immediate overwhelming counterattacks. Corporal James Mitchell carried his Thompson through the dense undergrowth of New Britain in December 1943. Part of the 1st Marine Division's advance toward the Japanese airfield at Cape Gloucester. The weapon had become more than just a tool to Mitchell and his squad mates. It represented a fundamental shift in how Marines approached jungle combat. Where previous generations of infantry had relied on individual marksmanship and careful fire discipline, Thompson gunners learned to think in terms of fire superiority and continuous pressure. The Tommy gun changed how we fought, Mitchell would later recall. Before, you'd take a shot, work your bolt, find your next target. With the Thompson, you could keep the enemy's heads down while your rifle guys moved. You could break up their attacks before they really got started. It wasn't just about killing the enemy anymore, It was about controlling the fight. This tactical evolution was precisely what General John Thompson had envisioned when he designed his trench broom decades earlier. The weapon's ability to provide continuous automatic fire at the squad level gave American units a flexibility that Japanese tactics had not anticipated. Thompson gunners could suppress enemy positions while rifle-armed Marines flanked around, or they could lay down covering fire that allowed wounded men to be evacuated under protection. The psychological impact of the Thompson extended far beyond its technical capabilities. The weapon's distinctive sound became a signature of American presence in the Pacific theater. Japanese soldiers learned to recognize the deep, rhythmic drumming that announced the approach of Thompson-equipped units. Intelligence reports captured later in the war revealed that many Japanese soldiers had developed an almost superstitious fear of the American devil guns, associating their sound with inevitable defeat. This psychological warfare was entirely unintentional, but profoundly effective. The Thompson's 45 caliber rounds created a distinctive acoustic signature that carried far through dense jungle vegetation. Unlike the sharp crack of rifle fire, the Thompson's report was a sustained roar that seemed to fill the entire acoustic environment. Japanese soldiers hiding in ambush positions could hear Thompson-equipped patrols approaching from considerable distances, and that sound carried with it the memory of countless failed ambushes and devastating casualties. The weapon's impact was amplified by its visual distinctiveness. The Thompson's profile, with its circular drum magazine and forward pistol grip, was unlike anything in the Japanese arsenal. American propaganda ensured that images of Thompson-armed Marines appeared in newspapers and magazines across the home front, creating an iconic association between the weapon and American fighting prowess. For Japanese soldiers, the sight of Marines carrying Thompsons became a visual reminder of American industrial might and technological superiority. But the Thompson's success in the Pacific came with significant challenges that military planners had to address. The weapon's ammunition consumption was prodigious. A Thompson gunner could exhaust his entire load in less than a minute of continuous fire. In jungle environments where resupply was difficult and every ounce of weight mattered, this created serious logistical problems that required innovative solutions. Sergeant Rodriguez, whose tactical innovations had proven so effective on Guadalcanal, developed what became known as burst discipline, training Thompson gunners to fire in short, controlled bursts rather than continuous streams. This technique conserved ammunition while maintaining the weapon's suppressive effect, allowing gunners to remain effective throughout extended engagements. Rodriguez's methods were eventually incorporated into official Marine Corps training doctrine, spreading throughout the Pacific as more units received Thompson weapons. The logistics of Thompson deployment reflected broader changes in how the American military approached Pacific warfare. Each Thompson required a steady supply of 45 caliber ammunition, which was heavier and bulkier than standard rifle rounds. Supply officers had to completely revise their calculations for ammunition requirements, often doubling or tripling their estimates for units with significant Thompson deployment. This logistical burden was considered acceptable given the weapon's tactical advantages, but it represented a fundamental shift toward ammunition-intensive warfare that would characterize modern military operations. The Japanese response to American automatic weapons evolved slowly and often ineffectively. Some units attempted to modify their ambush tactics, using longer-range engagements to negate the Thompson's close-quarters advantages. Others tried to develop counter-ambush techniques, using the Thompson's distinctive sound to locate and target American automatic weapons teams. These adaptations demonstrated tactical sophistication, but couldn't overcome the fundamental advantage that continuous automatic fire provided in jungle combat. More concerning for Japanese commanders was the broader implication of American automatic weapons deployment. The Thompson represented just one element of American industrial capacity that was transforming Pacific warfare. Browning automatic rifles, BAS, provided sustained firepower at longer ranges, while improved mortars and artillery gave American units unprecedented fire support capabilities. The cumulative effect was to create American forces that could bring overwhelming firepower to bear at every level of combat, from individual to battalion to brigade to division to corps to army to field army. to army group to theater army to army group 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 to army firefights to major offensive operations. The Battle of Saipan in June 1944 provided a devastating demonstration of how American automatic weapons had changed Pacific warfare. When Japanese forces launched their largest banzai charge of the war, they faced American defenders equipped with unprecedented numbers of automatic weapons, including hundreds of Thompson submachine guns. The charge, involving over 4,000 Japanese soldiers, was designed to overwhelm American positions through sheer weight of numbers and fighting spirit. The results were catastrophic for Japanese forces. American Thompson gunners, supported by BARs and machine guns, created interlocking fields of fire that turned the banzai charge into a slaughter. Of the 4,300 Japanese soldiers who participated in the attack, fewer than 30 survived. American casualties were significant, but proportionally much lighter, demonstrating how automatic weapons had decisively shifted the balance of Pacific warfare in favor of American forces. Private First Class Robert Chen carried his Thompson into the final assault on Japanese positions during the Saipan campaign. A second-generation Chinese-American from San Francisco, Chen had volunteered for the Marines shortly after Pearl Harbor, driven by a desire to fight Japanese forces that had been devastating his family's homeland since 1937. For Chen, the Thompson represented more than just a tactical advantage. It symbolized American technological and industrial superiority over Japanese militarism. "My grandfather used to tell stories about Japanese soldiers in China," Chen would later remember, "how they seemed unstoppable, how their tactics always worked. But with the Tommy gun, we could stop their charges cold. We could make them pay for every inch they tried to take. It felt like justice in a way, using American engineering to beat Japanese tactics." Chen's perspective reflected a broader transformation in how American forces viewed their Japanese opponents. Early in the Pacific War, Japanese tactical superiority and fighting spirit had created an almost mythical reputation for invincibility. The success of American automatic weapons in countering Japanese tactics helped dispel these myths, replacing fear and uncertainty with confidence in American material and technological advantages. This psychological transformation was as important as any tactical innovation. Marines who had initially approached jungle warfare with trepidation learned to rely on their superior firepower to control engagements. The Thompson's continuous fire capability gave individual soldiers a sense of power and control that single-shot rifles could not provide. In the terrifying environment of Pacific jungle warfare, where death could come without warning from any direction, the Thompson's rapid fire offered psychological reassurance that was almost as valuable as its tactical effectiveness. The weapon's impact extended beyond individual psychology to unit cohesion and tactical doctrine. Thompson-equipped squads developed new formations and movement techniques that maximized their automatic weapons' effectiveness. These innovations spread throughout Marine units in the Pacific, creating a tactical evolution that emphasized fire and movement over static defensive positions. The result was a more aggressive, flexible approach to jungle warfare that proved devastatingly effective against Japanese defensive tactics. As the Pacific War progressed toward its conclusion, the cumulative impact of American automatic weapons became undeniable. Japanese defensive positions that had once seemed impregnable crumbled under sustained automatic fire. Banzai charges that had broken Chinese and early Allied resistance were cut down before they could close with American positions. The tactical innovations that had made Japanese forces so effective in the early stages of Pacific expansion were rendered obsolete by American industrial capacity and technological innovation. The Thompson's role in this transformation was significant but not exclusive. The weapon worked as part of a broader system of American firepower that included improved artillery, close air support, and naval gunfire. But at the squad level, where individual Marines faced Japanese soldiers in the claustrophobic environment of jungle combat, the Thompson provided a decisive advantage that changed the fundamental dynamics of infantry warfare. Production figures tell the story of the Thompson's growing importance in Pacific operations. From a few hundred weapons at the start of the Guadalcanal campaign, Thompson production ramped up to thousands per month by 1943. Priority allocation went to Marine units in the Pacific, with some Army units also receiving significant numbers. By the war's end, over 1.5 million Thompson submachine guns had been produced, with a significant portion serving in Pacific theatre operations. The cost was substantial. Each Thompson required nearly twice the manufacturing time and raw materials of a standard rifle, but military planners considered this investment justified by the weapon's tactical impact. Post-war analysis would show that Thompson-equipped units consistently outperformed rifle-only formations in jungle combat, suffering lower casualties while inflicting higher losses on Japanese forces. The human cost of this technological transformation was felt most acutely by Japanese forces who found their traditional tactics suddenly obsolete. Veterans of successful campaigns in China and Southeast Asia discovered that methods that had brought them victory for years were now suicidal. The psychological impact of this realization contributed to the increasing desperation of Japanese tactics as the war progressed, culminating in the widespread use of suicide attacks that reflected the hopelessness of conventional resistance. For American forces, the Thompson's success validated a broader approach to warfare that emphasized technological and industrial advantages over traditional military virtues. The weapon became a symbol of American engineering prowess and manufacturing capacity, demonstrating how democratic societies could translate economic strength into military effectiveness. This lesson would influence American military doctrine for decades after the Pacific War's conclusion. The legacy of the Thompson in Pacific warfare extended far beyond World War II. The weapon's success in jungle combat influenced the development of assault rifles and squad automatic weapons that would dominate subsequent conflicts. The tactical innovations developed by Thompson-equipped Marine units became standard doctrine, emphasizing fire superiority and aggressive maneuvering that characterized American infantry tactics in Korea, Vietnam, and beyond. But perhaps the Thompson's most important contribution was psychological rather than tactical. The weapon demonstrated that American industrial capacity could overcome traditional military advantages. that democratic societies could outproduce and outfight totalitarian regimes when their survival was at stake. For a generation of Americans who had grown up during the Depression, questioning their nation's strength and purpose, the Thompsons' success in the Pacific jungles provided powerful validation of democratic values and industrial capability. As the last shots of the Pacific War echoed across the islands where so much blood had been shed, the Thompson submachine gun had earned its place in military history. From that first ambush on Guadalcanal, where Colonel Matsumoto's carefully planned attack crumbled under automatic fire, to the final mopping up operations on Japanese-held islands, the distinctive roar of Thompson fire had become the sound of American victory in the Pacific. The weapon that had begun as a solution to World War I trench warfare, gaining notoriety in Prohibition-era crime, had finally found its true purpose in the jungles of the Pacific War. Its impact went far beyond battlefield effectiveness to encompass broader questions of industrial capacity, technological innovation, and the nature of modern warfare itself. In the end, the Thompson submachine gun represented not just American firepower, but American determination to use every available resource in the pursuit of victory and the preservation of freedom. The story of the Thompson submachine gun, however, doesn't end with the conclusion of the Pacific War. Its impact reverberated through military doctrine and technological advancement for decades to come. The weapon's success in the Pacific theatre highlighted the crucial role of sustained, accurate automatic fire in close-quarters combat. This understanding significantly influenced the design and adoption of future assault rifles and squad-automatic weapons, the tactical innovations pioneered by Thompson-equipped Marine units, emphasizing aggressive maneuvering and fire superiority, became the cornerstone of American infantry tactics, shaping military strategies in Korea, Vietnam, and beyond. The Thompson's legacy extended beyond specific tactical applications. It profoundly impacted the overall strategic thinking of the American military. The weapon's effectiveness served as a powerful demonstration of the synergy between industrial capacity and military prowess. It solidified the understanding that a nation's economic strength could be a decisive factor in achieving battlefield dominance. This lesson, learned on the battlefields of Guadalcanal and Saipan, had a lasting impact on American military planning and resource allocation in subsequent conflicts. The Thompson's influence wasn't limited to the battlefield. The weapon's iconic status, fueled by wartime propaganda, and its association with American victory in the Pacific, solidified its place in American cultural memory. The Thompson submachine gun became a symbol of American ingenuity and industrial might, representing the nation's ability to leverage technological advancements to achieve strategic objectives. This symbolic significance helped shape public perception of the war and strengthen national pride in the face of a formidable adversary. The Thompson's impact on the Japanese military was equally profound, though drastically different. The weapon's effectiveness forced a significant re-evaluation of Japanese military doctrine, particularly concerning jungle warfare tactics. The previously successful ambush strategies, built upon the predictable pauses of bolt-action rifles, proved disastrously ineffective against the sustained firepower of the Thompson. This forced the Japanese military to adapt, leading to the development of new tactical approaches and defensive strategies. However, these adaptations often proved insufficient to counteract the inherent advantage provided by the Thompson's continuous fire capability. The psychological impact on Japanese soldiers was equally significant. The Thompson's distinctive sound became a symbol of imminent danger, fostering a sense of dread and apprehension among Japanese troops. The weapon's reputation for devastating effectiveness contributed to a decline in Japanese morale and an increase in the desperation of their combat strategies. The widespread adoption of banzai charges and suicide attacks in the later stages of the war can partly be attributed to the perceived insurmountable firepower of the American forces, particularly their Thompson-equipped units. The Thompson story is also one of technological evolution. While the early models had their limitations, particularly concerning weight, ammunition capacity and reliability, subsequent versions addressed these shortcomings. Improvements in manufacturing techniques and design innovations resulted in more durable, efficient and user-friendly weapons. This iterative process, driven by the demands of warfare, underscored the crucial role of continuous feedback and adaptation in the development of effective military technology. The Thompson's legacy extends beyond its physical attributes. The weapon's role in the Pacific War highlighted the importance of adapting to changing technological landscapes and the need for continuous innovation in military strategy and tactics. The lessons learned from the Thompson's use in the Pacific shaped future military doctrine, emphasizing the need for sustained firepower, combined arms tactics, and flexible, adaptable strategies to achieve decisive victories in various combat environments. The story of the Thompson submachine gun extends far beyond a mere chronicle of a weapon's effectiveness in combat. It's a compelling narrative of industrial innovation, tactical adaptation, psychological warfare, and the complex interplay of technology and human factors in the crucible of war. The Thompson's impact resonates not just in the annals of military history, but also in the evolution of small arms design, military doctrine, and even the broader cultural landscape of the 20th century. Its enduring legacy serves as a powerful reminder of the transformative power of technology in warfare, the importance of adaptability, and the profound psychological impact of superior firepower on the morale and combat effectiveness of opposing forces. The Thompson story also illustrates the intricate relationship between technological advancement and the human experience of war. The weapon's continuous fire provided not only a tactical advantage, but also a psychological boost to American soldiers, instilling a sense of confidence and control in the face of overwhelming odds. Conversely, the Thompson's devastating effectiveness instilled fear and despair in the hearts of Japanese soldiers, contributing to a gradual erosion of their fighting spirit and a desperate increase in suicide attacks. This underscores the critical importance of considering the human element in the development and deployment of military technology. It is a reminder that technological superiority, while crucial, is only one component of a complex equation involving training, leadership, strategy, and the psychological fortitude of the combatants themselves. The post-war analysis of the Thompson's performance underscored its remarkable impact on the Pacific theatre. Studies revealed that Thompson-equipped units consistently outperformed their rifle-only counterparts, achieving higher kill ratios and experiencing lower casualty rates. This quantitative data cemented the weapon's reputation as a game-changer, validating the tactical and strategic decisions made during the war to prioritize its production and deployment. The Thompson submachine gun's legacy is a testament to the enduring power of innovation and adaptation in military conflict, emphasizing the crucial role of technological advancements in shaping the outcome of war and demonstrating the significant interplay between material superiority and human resilience in the face of adversity. The deep rhythmic drumming of the Thompson, once a symbol of terror for the Japanese, became the resonant sound of American victory in the Pacific, a testament to the weapon's pivotal role in shaping the course of World War II. The Thompson submachine gun's legacy extends far beyond the battlefield. Its impact resonated throughout the post-war world, influencing military doctrine, weapons design, and even popular culture. The weapon's success in the Pacific theatre firmly established the importance of automatic weapons in close-quarters combat, leading to a paradigm shift in infantry tactics and small arms development. The emphasis on sustained, accurate fire combined with aggressive manoeuvring became a defining characteristic of American infantry doctrine for decades to come. This tactical approach, honed in the jungles of the Pacific, proved highly effective in subsequent conflicts, including the Korean War and the Vietnam War. The Thompson's influence on small arms design is undeniable. Its robust construction, manageable recoil, and significant firepower inspired the development of subsequent assault rifles and squad automatic weapons. Features initially incorporated into the Thompson, such as the selective fire mode, allowing for both single shots and full automatic fire, and the detachable magazine, became standard elements in modern small arms design. The Thompson's design also spurred innovation in ammunition technology, leading to advancements in cartridge design and the development of more efficient and effective ammunition types. Beyond its military applications, the Thompson submachine gun left an indelible mark on popular culture. Its iconic status, forged in the fires of World War II, ensured its enduring presence in film, television, and video games.